world of colors. I'm Colors. Today we're going to be making Clayton Blossoms. This is what he looks like. He's out in the yard planting his flowers, getting all ready for spring and summer. Got his little frog down here. I like the little frogs. So I'm pretty excited to make them with you today. And I'll be right back to tell you what we're going to use. So what we're going to use today, I'll start out here with the dahlias. These peach color dahlias from the Dollar Tree. And one of these spring headbands from the Dollar Tree. A little birdhouse that I've already painted. It came in a natural wood color from Joann's. This cute little birdhouse. A 5x5 beard. Some of the 7-inch rollers from Dollar Tree. And some of these glitter hats from the mini hats from Dollar Tree in the green color. And then you want to get a shape like this from Dollar Tree and paint it with the paint. I'll show you the paint. You just need one of them. We're going to paint it with the cactus paint, that base, and I've already got mine done here. The cactus paint from Tester's Craft Paints. And then we're going to use some miscellaneous clay pots, whatever you can find in different sizes. And these are flower stickers that I got from Dollar Tree. We're going to be using the orange one on his hat. And then these purple, small purple flowers. I'm not sure what the name of these are. I'm sure you guys could tell me. We're going to use these in different spots on them. So we'll need a stem of those. We're going to use some E6000 glue. We're going to need some burlap. You're going to need 2 9x9 pieces of this rust color burlap. And then the natural color burlap is a 4x9 piece. I got this rust color burlap at Walmart a while back. And I've used it a lot of times. And it's a good color to get. They also have green and the natural. So, but we're going to use natural and rust for his hat today. And then this back scratcher actually extends, but we're going to use it as smallest we can get it, and as a rake. And it's going to got it at Menards, the big hardware store. This nest I got at Joann's. I'm going to use that. A frog from Dollar Tree, where you can get a little bag of frogs from the baby section. We're going to use one frog. We're going to use a 2-inch wooden knob and 2 1-inch wooden knobs. Some rubber bands. And then we're going to use the brownie color acrylic craft paint from Tester's Craft Paint. The cactus that I told you about, and we're also going to use the Coral Cove, and that's what I painted the birdhouse in, the Coral Cove. We're going to use both the 1-ply and the 4-ply jute. We're going to get out our strip of big butterflies. I've already used one of them. These come from the Dollar Tree. We're going to use this butterfly right here. For this one, we're going to use some flat marbles, some polyester fiberfill, and then for our fleece we want to use this rust color for his body, and that's 12 inches by 20 inches. And then for his sleeves we want, I'm using this yellow plaid. We're going to use 2 5x8 pieces of that, and then a 9-inch square for his poncho in the same color. And I think that's about it. I'll get this stuff pushed back out of my way and we'll get started with this hat. We're gonna make the hat first. And I gotta tell you, I was feeling a little footloose and fancy free when I made this hat. So hopefully I'll be able to redo it for you. What you wanna do is you wanna take one of these glitter hats and let's get rid of the elastic on them. And we're gonna put two of them together. They're kind of thin for this project. I wanted to put the base, we'll put two of them together. And then all I did was I took some burlap. We're going to use two 9x9 pieces of burlap. And I laid the hat on there like that. And then what you want to do is cut the same shape as the hat is around, about 2 inches out. Find my measuring tape here. So you want to go about 2 inches out all the way around. That comes right to where I have that. So I'm going to use that whole edge here and just make that shape again all the way around. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is a real rough looking hat. I stay right close to the edge right there. That's good. Now what we want to do is take and glue the hat to one piece. Glue that right in the middle of the bottom. And then take the top piece and you just want to go down the middle of it. You see this, I didn't have a lot of measuring, I kind of eyeball it. It's not a real perfect hat, it's just, it turns out real cute. You just want to take that down like that on the top. And then you just cut off, as you can see what I'm doing here. Cut those pieces off. Because we want the green part of the top of the hat is going to show. So we'll get that glued on there. I'm just taking some glue at this point and gluing the two hats together on the edge. Now what you want to do with the natural piece is to put that around the edge like that. We'll put that around there. put the glue on here, I guess. It's just a real loose project. And you can pull off a little bit of the burlap on the edges just to give it that worn look. Now, I didn't like the height of the hat when I got it to this point. I'll do this a little bit more. I didn't like the height. It wasn't high enough here. And so is what I did was I took another one of the hats and I took some 4-ply jute and I wrapped it around the base of this hat. I'm probably about a 1/2 inch up, and I cut it right there, and I'm going to glue it. And I'll be right back with you. So I didn't like the height here in the middle, so I put the 4-ply jute around it, and then I took another one of the glitter hats and I cut the rim off of it. I've used this technique before in my video Dusty Bottoms, the little cowboy video, and I'm going to use it again in this one. So you want to get that rim cut off like that, and then just put a little bit of polyester fiber fill in there and slip it over the top here like that, and I'll glue it on a little bit. Just so it'll stay on there long enough, because I'm going to wrap it again with the jute. As you can see on this one, if you can see his hat, the jute wraps up pretty high. There's probably 1 inch altogether of jute. So we'll take the jute once again, and just wrap it around the, we've got some polyester fiber fill that wants to join in here. Okay, and just wrap it around that bottom of this second piece so that we don't see the edge of it. And you just want to keep wrapping it around. Until everything's covered up good. It looks like I need to go around another time. And then I'm going to cut it off and glue it. And I noticed that the shape, I want it to be a little bit rounder than what I have it here. So I'm just going to round it off a little bit. That should do it there. I'm making a big mess on my table. So we have it like that, and then you can add some ties. I've got some little ties on the hat. And just glue some ties on there. I'm going to glue a little bit inside this jute right here. Maybe a little bit in the front, so it stays where we made it. And then is what you want to do is to flip it upside down, and this bottom part we need to go over the stub when we put it on. So what we want to do is take the scissors and just cut it one way and then the other way. So it'll go right over that stub when we go to put it on. And then the one more thing that we need to do is put his little orange flower on here. I'm still putting glue on as we go here. Making sure you can't see the green hat through the jute. Just put a little glue on if you can see it. It might take you a few minutes to get it just perfect, but then you want to take the orange flower and put it right on there like that, the front of the hat. And hopefully you could follow along with that, but that's how I made the hat for Clayton Blossoms. And I'll be right back with you. I also wanted to show you how I painted out the glitter on the hat. I didn't want it to be glitter, so I painted it out like this on this one here. So it's like a matte finish. And I used the Cactus Tester's Craft paint, the same paint that we used to paint the base, to paint the hat out, and just go ahead and paint it out so it's flat. I'll get mine finished and I'll be right back. The hat is completely finished now, and we're going to put it aside for when we need it. And take out your 12 by 20 inch piece of rust color fleece for the body. We're going to glue up the 12-inch sides together. We're going to fold it and glue in the sides together. Just come about 1/4 of an inch in. We'll lay that right on there. And I'll let that set up. So then you just want to pick it up with your seam on the side. That'll be on the back of the body. And just go ahead and gather the top. Like that. Take your rubber band and go around it. that. And then take your 1-ply jute, tie that around where you put your rubber band. And then turn it right side out. And then just kind of pull gently the end apart. They kind of evenly come out. Like that. And then you have like this little bag. You want to put some marbles in the bottom. Just going all the way around that little stub that's in the bottom there. So I don't know if you can see, but that little stub comes up in the bottom, and I just put the marbles all the way around it to give it some weight so it'll stand up good. And then you want to put some polyester fiber fill. And fill it all the way to the top, leaving yourself enough room to gather it together and gather it together at the top and put your rubber band around the top. So I'll do mine and I'll be right back with you. Got them all filled up. I put the rubber band on them and the 1-ply twine around there to secure it, because as what I'm told is the rubber bands don't last that many years, and you want to put the jute on there as well, so if the rubber band gives out, you'll still have a nice gnome. It won't collapse on you. So I've got that all set up like that, and I put a piece of masking tape on the seam in the back. And the reason I do that, it's just a temporary thing so I can see where the seam is when I put the rest of the front on. I want it to be, in the end, I want the seam to be right in the middle and the back. So that's a little tip for you, to put the piece of tape there. The next thing I want to do is to take the 2-inch wood knob and put on the nose. And you want to put the nose on right up on the stub on this one to give it some height when we put the hat on. So we're going to get some glue here. These stay natural on this gnome. I don't paint them. So you're going to put it up like that, right on there, and let that set up. I've got the nose on, and the next thing I want to do are the arms. So if you take out your 2 5x8 pieces of the yellow fleece, we'll go ahead and make the arms up. They're real easy arms. You just want to take your piece of fleece and glue the 8-inch sides together. I'll give that a couple minutes. So I've got this set up here, and you want to turn it right side out. Just like that. And take your 7-inch roller and put it down through the middle. And then you'll need a rubber band, and you just gather that together at the end of the roller. This is the end that will glue to the back of the stub. Like that. And then the seam, you'll be keeping that on the bottom of the sleeve. And then up here, you'll have a little bit of extra fleece, and you just fold that over a little bit to make a little cuff. And you want to glue on your 1-inch knob right on the end of the roller like that. And then just kind of push the sleeve cuff into the glue a little bit. That help you out a little bit on gluing this cuff. Just push it right into the glue on the knob. And then on the back here, you just want to glue down the cuff a little bit right into the seam. This is the underneath part. Just hold that down a minute. And bend it so that you know, actually we're going to go this way with this one. So that you know which way it's going to go on there, like that. The seam's going down. We're going to glue it right on the back like that. And I've got the other one already finished. We're going to glue them just like that. So I'll get some glue on here. I'm going to let that set up, and I'm going to put the other one on. And I'll be right back with you. So the arms are glued on, and what you want to do now is take the 9-inch square piece of the yellow plaid, and we're going to put his poncho on. So you just want to fold that in half, and then fold it in half again. And we want to cut out about the size of a quarter circle, like that. And you want to have the points, a point going down the front and the back. And get it on there over the arms, like that. And you can just tack it down a little bit. We'll take the tape off. And then what we want to do is go ahead and take the 5x5-inch beard, and you want to tack up the corners on the bottom of the beard to give it some shape, so it's not just square. Just tack them up like that. Put a little V shape of glue there, and this fold it up. It just takes a couple seconds to do that, and it gives it some shape, the beard. And then you want to fold it in half. And cut about a 1-inch slit in the top. I'm going to do this a little bit longer than usual because of the size of the nose. And then you want to just pull it up like that around the nose. and glue that in place. I'm going to kind of glue it towards the nose in the back, like that. And I'll be right back with you. So what I'm going to do now is put a little firm holding hairspray in here so I can shape the mustache. And the beard. And you can put a couple coats of that on there if you want. And the next thing we want to do is to take the hat. We're going to glue the hat on and put a little bit of polyester fiberfill in there. And then we're just going to glue it right, probably, let me show you about where I'll put the glue. Right about there. And then put it down like that. And I'm going to let that set up, and then I'm going to do the back. I'm going to glue down the back and the sides. And I'll be right back with you. So I've got the hat glued on, both on the front and then on the sides. I just dropped some glue in there and held those down. And then I did the same in the back. I just picked it up, dropped some glue in there and held that down. Piece of glue on there. So what we want to do now is to take our wood shape that we got at Dollar Tree, and then I painted it with the Cactus Testers craft paint. And we want to put the hole in the back, and we're going to glue him on there all the way to the back. He goes all the way to the back, so we have room to put all these things on the front. So we just want to get a good amount of glue on here. You can use E6000 too. It just takes longer for it to set up. I'm going to use some E6000 for some things on this. And just set the seam right in by the hole in the back. Get the seam on there. That way we know he's centered. Like that. We'll let him set up, and then we'll start putting on the embellishments. So I'm going to start putting the other pieces on the base. I'm going to start with the frog. The frog really needs to be put on with the E6000 because otherwise he'll pop right off. He doesn't work well with hot glue. So you just want to get the frog all the way onto the base, right here, as far back as you can get him. And then because I was working with the E6000, I just went ahead and did the little pot. Now this little pot, I got at Dollar Tree, these little pots. Get this on right here. Like this, they come in a package of 3. And I take the little pot and fill it with poly pellets that I got at Joann's. And then I take my chocolate color acrylic craft paint. This is called Brownie by Testers. And I use that, and I use some Jot glue from Dollar Tree. And I put the poly pellets in there and the glue, a little bit of glue, and the color it with the acrylic craft paint. And I stir it all up. And then I take, for this one, I took this Spring Fling, I believe it's a Spring Fling, yeah, headband from Dollar Tree. And you just want to break this off, the flower off. and stick it into your poly pellet mixture and let it dry overnight, and then you'll end up with this. So that's how I did that. So we'll glue that on, and then go ahead and glue on the nest. I'm back using my hot glue, but you could use your E6000 for this just as easily, since you're going to have to let everything else dry. Put the nest there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the rake on, which is the back scratcher that we're going to use as a rake. And I tied that on with some jute. Around this arm here. Don't want to get the beard. Like that. And then you can take a little bit of the E6000 and drop it on the nest and stick the rake into that, because it's steel, so you really would want to use the E6000 on that. So then we'll let that set up a couple hours, and you won't be able to move that. And then is what you want to do next is put on your birdhouse. You just want to have it here in front of this hand. And we'll go ahead and hot glue that in place. And then we'll put the butterfly. The butterfly coordinates so well with all these colors, and it just makes everything pop. So I was at Dollar Tree yesterday and saw the butterflies were well in stock at my Dollar Tree. Well, one of my Dollar Trees, I should say. So hopefully you'll have no problem finding these butterflies. And then, as far as the pots go, I have him holding a pot in his hand over here. Now I'm going to let that set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some pots on here. Just going to glue some pots here and there. I can't tell you where to get these little pots at. I've had them. I have a collection of them, and I'm just pulling them out of a couple baskets I have like this of pots. So I do know the ones came from Dollar Tree. So just find your miscellaneous pots that you can find and do the best you can. They don't have to be the exact same size. And so I'm going to put one here on right behind the birdhouse. Tuck that right in like that. Try to do a little bit neater of a job than I just did. And then the last thing I want to do was put the flowers on. Now, the purple flower I thought it looked really well. next to the frog back here, the purple popping out there. So I take my wire cutters and get a couple pieces of this purple. And then we'll just glue them popping out there a little bit long. Popping out there next to the frog. And then you want to put some purple, couple of purple blossoms in the pot that he's holding. You just glue right to the side of the pot. And the last thing I wanted to do was to show you how I put the dahlias on, because the dahlias are going to have to, I'll put it up here where you can see. I bent the stem about 1.5 inches over like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to glue it in like that. I have to see a little bit. In like that on the bottom, we'll glue it. Well, we'll use a little bit of hot glue just to get it in place down here. And then what we want to do is take some E6000. I thought that would hold it really well. And take an old paintbrush and get that on the stem there. And hold it up like that, right where you want it. And then you need to take something and prop it up, because it's going to have a couple hours to attach itself right there. And prop that up and let it dry. And that's all there is to making him. This is Clayton Blossoms, and he's all finished. And if you like this video, make sure to like. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe.